If you love fun, fast, and functional fabric projects, these scrappy, slouchy pouchies is going to be your new favorite thing to sew. Hey friends, I'm so excited to share with you this adorable, easy to make slouchy pouchy with you today. This is a simple fold and sew. I even have a pattern for you. You can find this free pattern in the description box below. I'll leave a link for you. Whether you use a crazy quilt, strip quilt, or a faux cutter quilt top, this little pouch is so versatile. It's so adorable. You can put so many things in here. Isn't it cute? And it has a boxed bottom. And then this was my first one. You could store your hand sewing supplies in here, or even use it as the perfect handmade gift wrap. Just think of the things you could tuck in here. Let's get sewing. I'm going to bring you down to the table. The first thing we want to do is prepare our fabric. You're going to cut a 7" by 14" quilt sandwich. That'll be the quilt top, which we'll be working on today, batting and backing. And then the backing fabric is going to be the lining of your pouch. And I just picked this pretty green fabric. This will be the lining. And then we have the batting on top, and we are going to make our quilt top. I'm going to do a crazy quilt on top for this one. This one was pre-made quilt blocks from my friend Carol. This one I used strips to make. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I will be going to the sewing machine and I'll show you back and forth what I'm doing. And for the crazy quilt, I used my Simply Crazy quilting template, and then I cut out my block from this. See how I did it for this one? There we go. And I just cut it like that. I believe I do have this linked in my Amazon storefront below if you're interested in this. Otherwise, if you don't have one of those, it's perfectly fine. For crazy quilts, you just want to start off with a piece of fabric that has 5 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll need fabric scraps, and we all have lots of those, right? I kind of went with purples and greens for my theme today, and I added this just in case I didn't have enough. But let's start off with something crazy like this. I tend to sew counterclockwise, but you can sew however you like. I usually make my strips. I usually cut my strips to 2". That's what I use most of the time. And you are just going to lay that on top and take this to the sewing machine. I'll probably go like this, just on one of the edges. Take this to the sewing machine, and I tend to do like 1 inch on each side just to make sure I have enough, and just sew down as much as you need, because when we flip, we want to make sure we are covering this line. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and do that, and I'll be right back. I'm back from the sewing machine, and I'm simply going to flip this up, press if you'd like, trim this. Looks like I did too much, but that's okay. I can always use a seam ripper to pull that back up. There we go. And then we want to cut so that it is in line with, where's my ruler? We want to cut so that it's in line with this. And if you need to, make a mark so you know where to cut. And it looks like I need to trim a little more off here. And your crazy quilting. Put that back in there. Now we're ready for this piece. Grab whatever piece you want, and I think I'll go with that. And you'll just want to sew from here to here. And I'll go to the sewing machine, do that, and I'll be right back. We're back. Oops. Just press that down if you need to. Make a line to where you need to cut. After a while, you'll just know, and again, you see, I tend to go over, but it's okay. As long as you can sew on this line, it will be okay. Now, this line is this. And I kind of went over on that. It's fine, just cut near it and know that you need to sew along this line. Let's pick another piece of fabric here. Let's go with something really wild. How about this? And we'll just lay that right there. And I might even make myself a mark to stop right there. Back from the sewing machine. And keep in mind that you don't have to do quilted. I'm just showing you something fun today. If you just wanted to use a plain fabric on the front and a plain fabric on the back, that will work too. And I kind of did that one wrong, but I'll show you what to do if you do that. We are just going to sew from here to here, and we'll just leave that. Cut a little bit of this off. I'll come back and show you how that looks. We'll flip that up. And then this is our line right here. Now our next line is a little short. He's a short guy. And I think what I'm going to do is just find me a little tiny piece of something here. Or I could even do that and flip. Oops. I could do that and flip up. I just need to take off a little bit of this. Then what I want to do is just make sure that when I flip up, it covers all of that. So we're going to do that. And then I know I need to come here and here. Flip up. There's the line. And for this one, here's the line. Now we're ready to go here. Let's see if this one will work. I think it will. And you can always test it to be sure. I'll go sew and be right back. When I flip up, we've got this covered over here so we can trim. We'll trim this off because we don't need all of that. Okay. Put that in the pile. And then we need this line here. And we just need a small piece, like that. Don't even need that much. So let's just cut a small piece like that. And hopefully that will cover. That should be fine. Another idea would be to do 2 7x7 crazy quilt blocks. That would work too. And then just sew them together. But I just wanted to reduce a little bulk. All right, we're ready for this piece here. Let's try, how about this? If we do this, I think that'll work. We're going to take it all the way over because we're not worried too much about if we have small spaces there, and I'll show you why. We're going to trim off a little here. Now we can use, let's see what else we have in our little pile here. Is this big enough for that? No. And you can reuse fabrics. That would be fine. And actually, I think I will reuse this one right here. And we'll sew across here. That will take care of that. That side is done. And we need to cut this off. A little bit of this. We are ready for this piece. How about this? I have too much stuff on my table, guys. Let's put these away. I flipped this one up. We're ready for this piece. Maybe some more purple. Like that. We'll trim that one off. It's really coming along. Now we're ready for this piece to flip up. Just like that. I meant to tell you too that I am using a 1/4 inch seam allowance for this. Flip that up. We will trim this later, but I just want to take off these little pieces right away. We're ready for this right here. And I think that will be fine there. We'll trim this little piece off. That's close enough. I'm not going to worry about that little piece that's exposed, the batting, because that will get trimmed away. Now we're ready. We'll go ahead while we're up here and finish this piece. We'll go ahead and trim those other pieces real quick. And you could wait. I just don't like those sticking out while I'm trying to finish this up. But it's your preference, okay? One more piece up here in the corner. We'll finish it off with something really wild. I'll go ahead and sew that and be right back. All right, let's go ahead and trim that. We have to finish up with the bottom. So we'll find some long pieces. I wonder if this one will work. I think that will. Let me see what else I have. Maybe this one. So we'll go ahead and do that one. Now typically with crazy quilting, once we finish this, we would go and sew on some fancy stitches in here. I'm not going to do that today. I may do some more slouchy pouchies using that, but I just wanted to get you started on crazy quilting. But what you would do is just go through on each seam and do some fancy stitches. You could hand sew those, that would be perfectly fine. Let's pick one more piece of fabric to go at the top. It will be this one. And I think that will be it. And really, it doesn't take that long at all. It's just that I'm going to and from the sewing machine. So I'll be right back. There's that. And I go ahead and trim this. I am going to give this a quick press with the iron, but look how pretty that is. I know, guys, it's a hot mess, but it's a beautiful hot mess, right? There we go. And then you would want to go through and cut off any of these threads. But it's perfectly quilted for you and everything. You just quilt as you go. And then the next step, you could use your rotary cutter. I'm just going to use scissors. I'm just going to cut off right up to my backing fabric. That's why I said you could have waited to trim at the end, but I do like to tidy up as I go along. But there you have it, crazy quilting. So easy. Just start with a 5-sided piece of fabric. Go clockwise or counterclockwise, whichever you'd like to do. And there we go, all trimmed up, ready for our project. Now, this is 7 by 14. Here is our template. What we need to do is trace around the entire thing. I'm using this white chalk pencil. The black wasn't showing up, and I just want to go all the way around. This is an erasable pencil. As long as you can see the mark, what you're going to do is sew inside this line all the way around with your favorite decorative stitch, or you can use a zigzag stitch all the way around. I'm back from the sewing machine and I just did a simple serpentine stitch. Next, what we're going to do is cut on this chalk line without getting into that seam. Just like that. All right, there's our Slouchy Pouchy coming together. Then you'll just probably want to take your eraser and try to get that chalk off. I think I got most of the chalk off. The next step is just to fold this up real quick. Figure out where you want your button, because you'll want to put your button on first. I think I'll add it right there, and I'm just going to hand sew that on. All right, I've got my button on. The next step is to fold and sew. We are going to, this is where your flap will be. We are going to sew a straight stitch from inside the serpentine and to the left of it all the way down. Leave a hole at a 1/2 inch. Same thing for this side. Sew straight stitch and leave a 1/2 inch of a hole so that we can do the box corner. It just reduces bulk. I'll go do that and I'll be right back. Here's what that looks like. The straight stitch, and I stopped a 1/2 inch before the end where the fold is. Here's the back. I did back stitch at each end. I have to clean up a few threads here. The next step is to reach in and turn this inside out. We're going to create those box corners. And if you have any kind of pokey tool, go ahead and grab that to poke that corner out. That's why we didn't sew it, because we're going to cut it out anyway. The next step is really easy. We're going to make a 1-inch box Just draw it on each corner. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's why they turn out to be slouchy. They are slouchy pouchies. Draw it on both sides. And what you'll do is pinch that corner like this. Just like that. I'll do it again. Here's where the box is. Turn it like this facing you. Pull out. Pinch so you have a triangle. You're going to sew straight across with a straight stitch. And then do it for the other side. All right, I've got this sewn. Straight stitch across. Now what we're going to do, I'm just going to use my pinking shears and cut right below that seam. It's going to be kind of thick. A lot of bulk in there. Maybe we'll have to use the other scissors to get across there. Okay, there's that side. There's that side. Trim off this thread. Carefully turn it back inside out. Now we have a crazy quilt, Slouchy Pouchy. But we need to add a cord. This is just embroidery thread that I twisted using my Kreinig cord maker. Very, very handy. I do have a video on this if you're interested in this. And then I just added a bead. All I'm going to do after I trim these threads, I'm just going to take this to the sewing machine, sew back and forth right above that knot, and I'll be right back. That's what that looks like after I sewed it in there. And then you can close it up, wrap it around the button. I probably should have made the button a little higher, but that's fine. It works just fine there. Look how cute. And here's the boxed bottom. And the back. We have some threads here yet. And now you know why I named it Slouchy. They are very slouchy, right? So cute. And just like that, you have the cutest scrappy pouch. It's perfect for your sewing notions, small gifts, or you could tuck little treats in here for someone special. And don't forget, you can get your free pattern in the description box below. I do have a devotional for you today. It's from Ecclesiastes 9:10. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. Sometimes the hardest part of any task is just starting, whether it's decluttering a space, tackling the dishes, or organizing our craft supplies. The thought of it can feel overwhelming. But what if we just set a timer for 10 minutes? 10 minutes of focused effort can bring so much peace. It's amazing what we can accomplish in small, intentional steps. So today, take a deep breath, press start on that timer, and get moving. You'll be surprised at how much lighter your heart and your space will feel. Thank you so much for watching today. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you enjoyed me making my Slouchy Pouchies, and I hope that you will make lots of them. And until the next video, God bless.